So thank you. I took the presentation template very seriously, so you will see a lot of green stuff, and also my title cannot fit to the first slide. So the whole title is Guided Tour Through Ariadne's Landscape, where no building stands alone. And actually at this point, my 5-year-old son at the bedtime stories usually stop me and ask that, what does the title means? And this is what's going to happen now. Okay, so I really like to give long titles because then I can go through it. So the guided tour, what's the guided tour? We really like to do the guided tour. This is me, almost life-size. It's kind of a format for us to present and talk about architecture, and we really like to talk about architecture and our projects. This is an exhibition. Behind me there was a mural designed by Space Popular, and another guided tour, which was an open-air exhibition, like in an urban environment, and it was an object designed by Point Supreme. What is Ariadne? So I wanted to show you or give you a glass that how can you see the project that I will show. And Ariadne is a very important person for us because that's our studio's name, and it shows and it's point a route for us that Ariadne was the first architect. According to Beatrix Colomina, the whole quotation is from Beatrix Colomina. She points out that maybe not Daedalus was the first architect who designed and built the labyrinth, but it was Ariadne who has the knowledge and has the tool to understand and interpret the context of it. And when we choose our name, then we decided that we want to be that character of the architect which can exist. And the landscape. So the landscape can be like 3 different things for me. It could be the physical landscape, could be the projective landscape, and could be the narrative landscape. It's not in that order because the physicality where we build, the narrative what the meanings are, and the projective is kind of that how we respond to it. And I will show you the projective landscape of our projects. I will go through 5 different projects very quickly. So without the need to be very complete, I will just show you the common thing which is behind these 5 projects. And I would like to show you that how architecture can be a tool to act as a cultural continuity, and how it can form from different contexts, of different meanings, social narratives, and landscapes. And we are going to go from the largest to the smallest scale, and we will start with the rural geometries. It's basically a Buffalo Rome and educational trail. All the 5 projects are located in the same town or around the same town in the southern part of Hungary. So basically all the physical and the cultural context is the same. So I will show you how the project's narrative build up in how many steps and what forms. So the first one is that to this educational trail and the Buffalo Rome, we had to think about that what is this great plain, we call it Alföld, but what is this plain means to people. And the first thing that we talk about that first impression, or maybe the most memorable impression, what the people can get from the highway, for example, this modernist or modern agricultural infrastructure, which basically formed and changed the landscape of the existing site. It has like industrial like aesthetics with all the towers, the silos, the used materials of the metal, and the big roofs, and etc. And before that, there was this vernacular shepherd's infrastructure. Before it was an agricultural field, it was basically just for the people and the animal. And they use these very temporary, very easy buildings and very mobile structures, basically only just one material what they had, even if it's a reed or some wooden stuff or even just the grass. And these structures were like very geometric, very simple, like primer functions, basically just protecting from the wind and the sun. And what's the etymology? The etymology is again another very important stuff, because the barn of the buffalo is called in Hungarian, it's called szárnyék. Szárnyék is kind of the mosaic word, and it's built up from the protection from the wind and the shadows. So it's kind of a very built and woven into the culture. And the fourth important stuff for us was the landscape. And the landscape, basically the landscape really didn't exist. The notion of landscape didn't exist before the Renaissance, because all the picturesque and all the paintings and the representation the landscape was basically just the background. And when you get closer to the windows and closer to the doors, you can find that the landscape is very flattened and basically it's just the two-dimensional picture. However, it's after that point, the landscape has a meaning and could become a main subject of a presentation. So that is the land when we had to use, and that's when it was built. It's basically just a 500-meter long, 500-meter radius like pedestrian road. So basically one radii which has three parts, and the three parts is the barn, the hut, and the lookout tower. And all these buildings basically uses the attributes and uses the elements and the geometries that we wanted to use and wanted to look for. Even the details of the huts is basically reflecting the simplicity of the previous one. The second one, this name is Kultúr. It's kind of a new cultural center at Sándorfalva, or an extension of a new cultural center of Sándorfalva. And let's start with the backyards. In the backyards, you can find a kind of a very common thing that every people in his own land start to develop and build up all the plot. And they organically filled up with buildings and sheds and roofs and whatever they need. If you get closer, you can see that basically every building has an extension where then that building has an extension that has a roof. And if you just change the perspective, that we can see that all these gardens or backyards are quite impressively like messy, but again, it's very romantic because they just build it themselves without architects. It's just an organic way. As the community side, before there were not community centers and not cultural centers, the community had to go in one place. Usually that was a barn, again in the backyard, where it has like huge spaces and connection to the yards and the gardens. And the importance of building for the public. So the public buildings usually has this kind of unique shape or some kind of meanings. They have the importance in the city, and these public buildings is nearby, for example, at Hódmezővásárhely and Jászberény. And you can see that they are different, they speak a different language. So all of this in the right side, you can see the existing cultural, like not cultural, but community center, and that what we designed and proposed. Basically, we arranged 1, 2, 3, 4 of the forms, and between that there is a roof. And on the roof, there is another roof. And you can see that how we arranged the forms and the shapes in a way that they wanted to continue and reflect on the constellation of the backyards, how the unique form start to speak in the language in a public building, and how the connection of the building has with the garden as a barn or a center. So barn in the pool. We got a commission to design a new sports hall to the city, and we got the plot of that in the middle. And that plot used to be a pool, used to be a common pool, which was a very interesting situation. One thing that you have to know about this Great Plain is that there is a notion which is the relief, and the relief is is basically, it has a unit, the unit is 1 meter per square meter. And it means that how hilly and how high and how low in 1 square meter. And in this region, in this Great Plain, it's basically nothing. If you want to look up the exact number and exact unit, you can find that it's basically below 1 meter. And that means that in 1 square kilometer, you can find only 1 meter difference in the land, in the surface. And if you find anything else, then it's basically man-made. So all the holes, all the ditch, all the stuff that is not in that region, that is basically man-made. That the pool, again, it's a man-made object which has like 2 meter depth and 1 meter height on the sides. And this is the situation and the state nowadays, which you can see that they have a slope at 1 meter and they have the 2 meter depth on the pools. And we got the problem that how we can form a sports hall in this village or in this town where the legislation not really allow us to build that big a building. And what kind of typology we can look for. And we found that there is the sitting shed in the region. And to be truly honest, they call it in Hungarian, it's the shed which is sitting on its buttocks. So it's without any walls, just the roof sitting on the ground. And it has a very unique look. It kind of, again, uses the materials of the ground and the grass and the reed. It looks like just a landscape. And another thing, which is that the mayor just pointed out that she wanted to be, this building is a very representative one, like a church, she said. But we told her that it's not really possible to build like a temple, like church's building as a sports hub. But if you want to think about that, so it could be the temple of the body, it could be a temple of the movement, the soul, whatever. Even if we use that term, that's the temple from the Greeks or the Romanesque era, that they always build the temple on the top of the hill, or even that they made a hill and put top of it. But we don't have a hill, we have a hole, because it's in the pool. And that point that we decided that we will use the pool and as a plot of the building. So basically, the existing pool defined the geometry and the perimeter of the building, and we just put a roof in the top of it, and uses the perimeter and uses the space between the pool and between the building as a new public space, which again can be addressed to the sports and the activities. And from the city, it's a very like low building without the walls, and it's kind of resembles with the sitting shed. The fourth one is the butt at the plane tree. It's really in the next plot with the swimming pool. It's going to be a community butt. And you have to know that in Hungary we have a history of the butt, but in not that region. We don't have any butt on that region. Even we don't have the material to building a butt. We have just mud and adobe and this kind of stuff. We don't have a stone to build a butt there. So we had to think about that. If that typology is not existing there, that what kind of typology exists. And obviously, it exists the family houses and exists the peasant houses. And we try to figure out that if this is the most used typology, that how we can fit a butt into that kind of typology. And one thing which was very important to us, to how we can arrange the space around these houses and around these objects to be a usable butt. And one thing which we love to use is this kind of, call it pitvar, and it translates it basically just an open space in the middle of the house. You can see there, and you can see there also. It's basically an open chimney. It's a very unique space where basically there's an entrance and you can go through, and that's the heart and the soul of the house. And again, also it has like I call it the house of the rising sun, because we have this motif on the facade. It's basically like the sunshine of the symbols of the sunshine. And it turns out when you want to put that function as a butt into this typology, then it turns out that it wanted to push the boundaries of this house, and we wanted to basically not destroy, but distort it and deconstruct it. And as you can see, that basically all the old typology of the house is a little bit changed. The cross section changed to the longitudinal section. All the walls basically pushed towards to the garden and became a fence. And the pitvar became an element, but it gets bigger because we have to go through it. And it goes through to the fence, which again it's a very common thing in the era. And here you can see the facade, and here you can see the pitvar on the top of the building. And this is the actual situation in the construction site when they putting the roof right now on the project. And the last one is Schweger's workshop. A painter studio. Zsófia Schweger is an internationally renowned painter who based in London and based at Sándorfalva, luckily for us. And this project, we have to go back again to the backyards. And the backyards, there is one element which I really love, and that is that foil tube. This foil tube is a very common form. I think it's very not realized and not in the canon at all, but just for the quantity of it, I think you have to be considered as a real thing, and you have to put it on a shelf as another architectural element. And what other thing is in the backyard? You have this mess, the disorder, and leftover materials. There is a stone, there is a wood, there is everything that you want to hide or put away. And this image is the exact plot and the house. This is Zsófia's family house, and this is the garages and the sheds that they built. And this is the view to the other part of the plot, where you can see that basically the whole plot is running out. There is no city, no town, not anything else, just the edge of the world that you can see. And what's the atelier? Usually, Zsófia's works in a very gray or a white area with the luminescence light and so on and so on. Everybody knows this kind of attribute. So how you can match this together? And we matched this together that we obviously kept the family house. We made a clean yards in the middle, and we used the back of it, and we proposed just one tube and one cube of it. The tube is obviously is a foil tent, and the cube is a brick cube, what we can use. You also have the skylights and the huge doors just to manipulate all the big art pieces through and into the studio. So what states for no building stands alone? So I owe you to the description here now, and that's going to be the last 2 minutes. We have this kind of 3 steps that I like to share with you, that how we interpret things. And the first is the topological narratives. And I borrowed the topology from mathematics. The topology in mathematics is basically in theory, it means that they're not dealing with exact number and exact values, but they are looking for the perimeter of the sets. They usually look for the transitions. They look for the connection of these sets. And if I want to translate to architecture, the topological narrative describes the invisible field of meanings, relations, and references that surrounds the project. So a narrative, in its broadest sense, it's not just a story, but the structure of meaning, a way in which events, references, or elements connect across time and space. So basically, we don't ask what the house like, but we ask what it means to build here. The second step is the grammar of design. The grammar of design is kind of the internal logic and the language that we use to make forms. And if you just see the pictures that, okay, these are some of our projects which are not really has a common formal language if you just see it one blink. But again, this is our team, this is David, Attila, Lila, and me. And I like the notion of grammar of design because the grammar refers to the language, and the language kind of refers to us, that how we speak about, how we debate about architecture. And it means that it's basically not a style, but a syntax. So it's not a unity of the sameness of the same things, but kind of the coherence of the intent behind it. And the last thing is that the landscape, and at the landscape I just call all foggy and cloudy things that we put after the narratives, the references, the histories, the forms, and all the stories there, somewhere up there. And in that cloud, at that certain point, maybe not in the middle, but maybe somewhere else, the building like manifests itself. And in that cloud, you can find many buildings which has the same meanings and the same references, but just in, for example, another form. So that's why I think that's the landscape of the ideas, and that's why I think we can say that no building stands alone, because every building is kind of a continuity of our culture, the continuity of the architecture before it, and it basically just passes through to the next building that they want to share with. So what I think this is a common architecture language that we have with which we create narratives, and through that we consider the architecture as a layered cultural production. And I really love to be an architect to continue this path. Thank you.